Okay, welcome to another video. Uh, this is still under part one, core beliefs, but we're actually in a new section. This is why most businesses fail, the truth no one wants to hear. The first question is one of the hard truths, which is what's the number one reason that businesses fail that nobody wants to admit? While there could be a myriad of reasons why a business fails, usually it comes down to sort of one principle that I've said, which is they give up. And I don't mean they give up doing their business or taking care of their customers. What I mean is they give up trying to do their marketing. So there are a lot of pitfalls and trials and things you'll run into that make marketing difficult. And the more difficult the marketing appears to be, the more it sort of weighs on you and frustrates you, and you might make some progress and then you hit a wall and it sets you back and it feels very futile. And all of these setbacks are minor compared to the payoff of getting to the breakthrough. But the problem is that sometimes they wear on somebody so much that they stop actively trying. They'll be like, well, it's just not going to work. I'll figure this out later. The problem is the later never actually comes. The later ends up being their business failing. The later ends up being them struggling more as time goes on instead of less. Now, when you're looking at it from a 30,000 foot view, you can be like, this is where I want to end up. These kind of customers, this kind of cash flow, this kind of, etc. And you have to acknowledge all of the hurdles and things that have to go in place to get you there. And then you also have to acknowledge that you're not going to do them all perfectly the first time you do them. Regardless of how long I've been doing marketing for, that puts me a leg up on looking at certain things or analyzing data, yes. But when it comes down to it, a lot of times it's still just like, hey, let's test this. Let's test this method. Let's test this strategy. Let's test this, you know, angle and see what works. There's market research you can do to try and make it easier, but unless you actually manage to talk to a business owner and get real numbers from them, not what they tell you, it's really hard to tell. And this is also one of those deceitful things that you see with a lot of gurus that are online, is they'll tell you that theirs is the number one way. So they'll say, this is all you need. You only need this method. You only need this course. You don't need this strategy. Or they'll tell you something's dead. Hey, don't do email anymore. Email's dead. Don't do DM messages anymore. DM's dead. It is a very narrow vision of what is effective. Now, why they do those things is because they're trying to attract people who are tired of being told to do this and they don't succeed. And a lot of times they'll blame the person, or they'll blame the marketing agency, or they'll blame whoever as the reason why it's failing. And then if they cycle through a few people, they'll then say, well, that strategy doesn't work. I said this in another video. All marketing works in almost all the markets, but finding out what works right now for your business is why you need to do testing. So if you try something and it doesn't seem like it's working, a lot of times what I found is it's not necessarily the strategy that isn't working right. It's one of the other things that I've covered. It could be the messaging, it could be the angle, it could be the offer, it could be how you're positioning your product. There's a lot more to it than just saying, oh, this doesn't work. However, because there are a lot of different ways you can go about it, because somebody may feel like they've tried everything when in reality they've only tried a couple of things, the stress of running their business plus the stress of not making any progress in their marketing will cause them to throw their hands up and say, I'm done. And that's sort of the number one reason why businesses fail that no one wants to admit. It's the business owner needs to look in the mirror and tell themselves, you're the reason I failed. And obviously they're talking to themselves, right? They need to have that understanding. They need to be honest with themselves and say, have I actually done everything at a significant level to determine that this isn't working? And there's one easy tell. Is there anybody in your niche, in your industry, doing what you are failing at and they are succeeding? If there's even one, you're giving up too early. As I said, marketing works in All marketing works in all markets. It's just how you're presenting it. Now, it doesn't mean you go copy them or rip them off. There could be a myriad of reasons as to why theirs was working and yours isn't. But a lot of times taking that step to be like, it's not the marketing agency, it's not the marketing guy hired, it's not the consultant, it is me screwing up the marketing. Taking that step is the first step to getting your business away from complete failure. And a lot of times what you'll see is you'll see serial entrepreneurs who start a lot of businesses that fail. And they never really get one that takes off, or if it does, it then fails later because they never take this accountability. Granted, it sucks and it hurts, but you know what's nice is at the end of the day, if you power through it and you get over these hurdles and you keep trying regardless of the setbacks, that payoff you get, you earn that. Not your marketing guy, not the marketing consultant, not the agency you hired. You did that. That's a really good feeling. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Hope you learned something. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.